actually came right on time. And as a librarian, of course, I could reserve the right to be biased in my response to Reno Omokri. His comments that library science and a couple of other courses are dead and gone. Let's have this conversation. Behind the camera is Christabel, and she is actually going to be having this conversation with me. Let's learn about the recent comment by Reno, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this.
Is library science really dead and expired, like Reno said?
Library science is not dead. I wanted to be reactive in my response, but I wouldn't say that this video itself is a proactive response either. But I realized that Reno is known for shaking tables, right? One, and then which is very evident in the 2023 elections. And in fact, I'm surprised that table shaker was not included in the hashtag of the post. However, let's take a look at that post briefly and see what the post says. All right. Here's the post Reno actually made. As of time of shooting this video, it was about 2 days ago. You can see there are over 1,000 comments and over 1,000 shares. Over 1,000 people have shared this comment, this post. So you can see there's someone here that's saying, I had this thought and told some people this some time ago, and they said I didn't know what I was talking about. And then Samuel above, as you can see, is also saying it's very bad that you said this, very unfortunate. Advise our leaders to lead well. Let them see the role of education, good governance, leadership, and politics. For instance, you can imagine when we get on in the video, I will ask you who to blame. See those who have made ministers in Nigeria, for example. You can imagine. Now tell me, what does a lawyer have to do with managing or works and all that? So you see how displaced some of these roles are in society and from leadership. So somebody says, interestingly, an expert or professional. Come on, if you go through this post, you see a lot of comments, all arising from a singular post that Mr. Reno had shared about library science being among those courses that are dead and expired.
Wow.
Okay, now that we've actually gone through that particular post, if you read the complete post, you see that Reno boldly suggests that those courses, right, have long expired and that they belong to the museum. Now, I'm like, really? So for someone like Reno, who has over 2 million followers on the X app, it's really, really very important that you don't use such opportunity to mislead people or those that follow you, right? I do acknowledge the wonderful work that Reno does to impact the lives of a couple of young people. In fact, I used to follow Reno for inspiration and thought-provoking ideas until the recent Nigerian elections. I had to decide to save my soul by minimizing how much attention that I give to his post. Now, but the internet, like we all know, is actually a global village, and you can't avoid people for so long. And I'm here to briefly discuss his personal opinion. And please note that this video is particularly targeted at two categories of people, not Reno per se. The first category of people I'm targeting this conversation I'm having here with, that anyone could learn from, is I'm targeting innocent Nigerians and prospective students, those looking for counsel on what to study for the future. And then the second category of people that this conversation of video would target are library and information professionals. So having established that, I would like to dive right in this conversation. But for instance, let me mention something. I actually dropped a tweet, and what I asked on Reno's tweet was, how much do you, Reno, know about library science and related courses, right? I understand that Reno is very educated, but then you can't possibly know it all, can you? And no wonder one of my lecturers quoted that an uninformed mind is a deformed mind, right? So at this point, what I would like to actually focus anyway should be on prospective students and innocent Nigerians. So please watch this video to the end. It's actually a long one. I would like to know your thoughts on this subject, on this conversation, and please also share this video with information professionals and innocent Nigerians so that everyone can learn, everyone can be enlightened. Take note that this video is beyond Reno. It's not about Reno, but about changing the narratives about what Reno and some other people actually really think. Now, library and information science is not an expired course, and it does not belong to a museum like Reno has said. Now, let me explain this to you. Investing in studying library and information science or related courses is not putting good money into or behind lost courses, just like Reno called it. And it is not true that after you graduate, you will never find real life applicable jobs for a LIS course or degree. Now, these are Reno's words. Don't let social media influencers misinform and mislead you, guys. There's no enabling environment doesn't make a course irrelevant, right? Let's ask ourselves this bitter truth. Who is responsible for the hot and the rot in the educational system today in Nigeria, for example? The declining learning and reading habits or culture of Nigerians and young people today. Who is responsible for all this? I think let's just for a while answer that question in the comment section.
What's the course library science about actually?
Let me enlighten you briefly about the course, library science. Library science is actually a multidisciplinary field that focuses on not just information technology, information management, it also focuses on information retrieval and management skills. Over the years, a lot of professors and professionals have made remarkable commitments and contributions to uplift the face of the course and the curriculum over the years. Now, what I'm saying here is some of these efforts is reflected in the title of the course itself. Some institutions call it library and informatics. Some institutions call it library and information science. Some call it library and information management. Some call it archival studies, and so on. Others call it information technology, right? Now, the most recent effort in developing this curriculum, you can see is reflected in the new core curriculum and minimum academic standards, which is called the CCMAS, that started since last year.
All right.
Now, I was privy to see a document that proposes some of the topics that are in this new curriculum for this course. And it featured topics like software and hardware technology. It featured topics like metadata. It featured topics like information consultancy, data processing, research support, information literacy, ethics and law. Come on, I cannot say the efforts are sufficient, however, but come on, a lot is actually going on. And my point to innocent Nigerians seeking a course to study that will be lucrative, that will be relevant for the next 50 years is this. Doing without library and information science or librarians is like doing without medical sciences and medical doctors. Now, why do I say this? There is something that people will never get tired of running after and wanting, and that is food and information. Food and information. Now, information is power, knowledge is power. And guess what I will say here right now? Librarians keep and hold both. Librarians are the custodians of both, right?
Yes.
All right. So my question is, if everybody becomes a software developer or a tech engineer or a robot creator, who becomes a mechanic? Who becomes an information professional? Who becomes a food vendor? Who becomes a counselor? Right? In the future, this course has the potential of being one of the most relevant amongst others. As a library and information graduate, you have so many job and revenue generating opportunities. The library is not just the only place you can work in. Actually, you are trained to be a research consultant. You are an infopreneur. You are a reviewer. You can be a journalist. You can be a content creator. You can be a data analyst. You can be a lecturer. You can even be a digital skills trainer. You can be a whole lot of anything that you want to do. I could go on and on, but then my point is this: I am a digital librarian. And yes, I agree with people that say it is tech o'clock. But there's something I've also been advocating for in the past few months, that tech skills are not the only thing we will need in the future. Now take a look at this. In my recent virtual conversations, we talked about Howard Gardner's recommendations on the 5 minds that we need for the future. You can search for that book to read about it. Tech wasn't the key thing in that book. Now, how many of you get overwhelmed with the influx or explosion of information on your phone or on your laptop when you go into social media or you go into a browser to search for something, and then you see a whole lot of other information? Now, the moment you pick that phone and then you see these messages, they frustrate the reason why you are actually there, right? There's millions of results, millions of information on the web for you. Now, students who study this course, Library and Information Science, are particularly equipped with information retrieval skill. Now, this particular skill makes them to stand out in information retrieval, management, and dissemination. Now, this is something many of you watching this video may not be able to do. But then, as librarians, this is what we are trained to actually be able to do. In the future that we are talking about, guys, employers of labors are not only going to be recruiting those with artificial intelligence skills or those with technology skills. They will look out for staff that can collaborate, that have values for ethics, and that can creatively think, that can actually bring informed and well-researched ideas to solve organizational problems or societal problems. Now, the software developer and the blockchain expert can't actually achieve some of these things, because most times they just focus on building this application. Yes, they think creatively, but then these are not the only set of people we will need in the future. The future gainers, those that will gain in the future, will actually be those who learn how to manipulate data, those who learn how to manage and disseminate data. And guess what? Library and information professionals stand the chance of becoming the most relevant courses in the future. All right. Now, see, as the day unfolds, there's need for the professors and librarians to actually keep improving the curriculum. To say this course should be murdered or that it should fade away, as suggested by Reno, come on, come on, come on. Library and information science is not dead. Rather, many of us are adapting to a global revolution. This is a global revolution hitting every discipline, right? We are not transitioning just into a tech-driven economy. We are also gradually transitioning into a knowledge-based or knowledge-driven economy. Now, and in such economies, only those who are skilled at creating, managing, and monetizing information, those are the set of people that will thrive. And library and information experts actually fall among this category. Now, I have been a librarian for over 10 years now, and my level of job satisfaction is pretty high. Not because everything is rosy at my environment, but because of how well I have internalized a new perception about who I am as a librarian. It's about the deliberate efforts I have made to upskill myself and acquire new knowledge and adapt to the revolution. Now, one of the most important things I want librarians here to know is that there's hardly any workshop that I facilitate that I don't talk about the stereotyped librarian. Do you understand me? Stereotyped
yes.
librarian.
Yes.
Now, and there is a need for us to define our roles as librarians. Now, isn't it time for us to make deliberate efforts to tell our stories by ourselves?
Yes, it is. It is the high time.
Great. So you see, at the beginning of this month, actually, I've had to start a formal coaching service, which is still ongoing. Now, here is that particular course. The first module of that course talks about redefining librarianship. Let me show that to you briefly. Redefining librarianship. Now, that's just a module in the coaching course for librarians. I and several other librarians in Nigeria, for example, have also been in the forefront of enlightening and recommending ethical ways to leverage AI tools and digital tools in research and work productivity. Now, the point I'm making is tech guys seem to be more concerned about developing apps and technologies. Now, the big deal is who is now responsible for following up on user satisfaction? Who is responsible for following up of ethical usage and control? Who is ensuring all this? Now, see, I don't know, but I pray that we understand the purpose for this video. Now, I repeat, it's not about Reno per se. The point is actually about influencing the mindset of innocent Nigerians or prospective students and librarians that may have actually come across that post. And even the comments there, some of them are really, really surprising. But then, I don't know, but I pray that we understand the purpose for this video. I'll repeat, it's not about Reno per se. In fact, I think Nigerian librarians at this point, we should be thanking Reno, in quotes, for actually raising up a topic like this. For instance, he has currently started shaking a table, right? Good. But just like every human opinion, there's always a gap in the opinions that you share. And that Reno is not 100% correct doesn't mean that he's entirely wrong in his opinion and perception about librarians and library science, right? So obviously, many Nigerians actually have this perception also.
So what should librarians do about this increasing perception?
Now, what I wanted to just say briefly here as I round up this video is wake up, librarians. Wake up, information professionals, and save not just the profession, but our economy. Save the educational system. Help them to see what's most valuable in a society. Rather than attending multiple workshops and conferences annually, publishing so as not to perish in wherever you work, and with your papers and publications not having very good measurable impact in the society, on the environment that you live in, we should stop being reactive. We should stop being competitive amongst each other. We should stop being defensive and being bottlenecks to librarians who we know have potentials that can uplift and revolutionize the profession. Let us change that perceived stereotype narrative. Let us tell our own stories. Let us actually not just use words and publications, but let us put everything we say, everything we research on, let us put them in action. Yes, this is to librarians.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? You do get me, right? Now, I think I'm just going to have to end this video here. So you can share your opinion. Share your opinion with me in the comment section, and share this video with any information professional or library professional or just innocent Nigerians too, so that they are not misinformed. And please inform citizens, inform everyone beyond the shores of the country to beware of misinformation, that library science and other courses are as actually posted by Reno, they are dead and they are gone, or that they belong to the museum. No, that's actually not correct. So my name is Sylvester, and I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you had a great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So let the librarians